Welcome back. Today I'm here with cellist in the TSO, Jonathan Békés. Jono, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me in.
It's such a pleasure to have you on the couch to talk about Bach's Cello Suites. We've already seen on Daily Dose you've done the second cello suite. From today on, we're going to have a series of clips of you doing the first cello suite. So let's talk about why Bach.
Why Bach? I suppose the Bach Cello Suites, 1 and 2, but all of them are such a cornerstone of the cello repertoire. You can't call yourself a cellist without at least having dabbled. It's a really exciting opportunity for me to sit down and get some really, really great video recordings of these. I absolutely love these pieces. So it's been a really fun project and I hope a really good journey for everyone out there listening.
Have you lived with the Bach Cello Suites for a very long time? Because as you said, they're a staple. Is it something you come to early or do your teachers say, you're not ready for this yet? Is it?
Well, look, I think the Prelude that you're about to hear today, it's probably the one that you get introduced to first. And I think maybe everyone, their introduction to the Cello Suites is that. And I would say I heard that and started thinking about playing that right at the start. It definitely is something that your teacher goes, especially for me. I think my parents can testify that I was always really, really keen to get in there and play. It's between the Prelude and Elgar Cello Concerto. I was always nagging my poor old teacher to play both of those. The Prelude and actually the first suite itself presents an interesting challenge in that technically the notes are not too bad, but the real challenge is getting the music out there.
Yeah. Is that why you recorded the second suite first and then went to the first suite? Because, is there something a bit easier about the second suite, or is it just that the first suite is so well known that, you needed to sit on it for a bit?
Actually, why I did the D minor suite first, the prelude of that is something that I really, really enjoyed playing that one, especially actually. So I started with that, and that's what everyone has already seen. And it's not for any technical reasons that after that I came to the first. I just thought, what am I going to enjoy to play, and what is everyone else going to enjoy to hear? And I think the prelude from the first suite is definitely probably the top of the list.
Yeah. So you talk about the difficulty in getting the musicality out of this piece. It's a very well-recorded piece. How do you find that influences you? Do you gravitate towards sort of like a Yo-Yo Ma or Rostropovich, or do you hear all that and then go, no, I want to be a Jono Békés. I'm walking my own path.
I think that's a really important question and something that sort of everyone coming and trying to perform these cello suites will have to face. There is such an amazing variety of recordings out there. Just for the prelude, if anyone is interested, hop on YouTube and check out Anna Bilsma playing the prelude as opposed to Heinrich Schiff playing the prelude. Now these two are two sort of mammoth figures of cello in 20th century, and Heinrich Schiff plays more than double speed of what Anna Bilsma does. It's completely and utterly different. It's amazing. It all stems from the fact that the suites themselves are a real sort of mystery of how we're actually supposed to play them. I think for me, personally, I like to listen around, but as you say, I like to try and figure out what I think of the suite and use a range of different things, whether it's recordings, whether it's thinking about what a suite actually means. The big thing for me is what the harmony is doing and what that suggests in kind of a rhetoric. Mm-hmm. If you often I think of these movements or pieces like a paragraph, and often people focus on specific words too much. Often they focus on specific sentences, but somehow the words have got to make sense in their own, but they've also got to make sense of a big paragraph that people actually understand the story.
Yep.
That's the challenge.
Yeah.
It's easy to get details, easy-ish to get details, but incorporating one whole paragraph idea while still having the details is a real tricky and actually wonderful thing to explore. So that's vaguely what I try to do with it.
For something that's, just written for a solo instrument standalone, there is so much in there to pull out.
Yeah.
It's really a masterpiece.
Going on from that, I mean, it's actually, I think there was one other solo cello work before it, nowhere near the depth and breadth of what Bach was able to do with the cello suites. It really is a standalone, of its time, was a completely standalone piece made for an instrument that was considered just something to highlight the left hand of the harpsichord in a basso continuo style. The real mastery of it is that he extrapolates this whole world out of this previously thought purely harmonic, or not even harmonic, I don't know what you...
Just a...
instrument over here.
Just an accompaniment instrument suddenly becomes, a soloist in its own right.
And everything. I mean, to check out the Fifth Suite, the Prelude from the Fifth Suite, he writes a fugue for one cello. And granted, it's not as... it's amazing actually what he's able to achieve for one little cello.
Can I ask a slightly nerdy question? We've had Julia Friedersdorf on Daily Dose before, and she's obviously a Baroque specialist. And I saw you reading the Ur text of the Bärenreiter edition that you're playing off. Do you ever try to consider how the people back then may have played it or may have heard it, or the instrument's different? So there's so much different about the context that you're playing it in. How do you take that on board, or do you just accept that we're in a modern era and things are different?
I think that for me personally, it's definitely something that I need to think about. For me, there's no sense coming and playing Bach like I'm playing Shostakovich Cello Concerto, which I think that there is a certain lightness and a certain style that we need to think about. For me, it's a balance, and I try to pick, let's say, the best from each. Mm-hmm. What I think the best from each ideal is, and the classic other question is to ask, if Bach was here today, how would he hear these suites? Would he want to take them back to what he originally thought, or does he like new ideas? We don't have an answer to that, and we have range. I love the ranges and the spectrum out there that is there, and I don't really have an answer.
Yeah.
I just like to listen out and see what's out there and try and have a version that sits best for me.
Yeah, it's standing on the ears of giants and creating your own sound world.
It's a blessing and a curse in a sense that there is so much out there. It is daunting, especially at the start, and for students at the start, something that seemingly looks very simple. It's hard to know actually where to go. Looking back and now sort of getting through all the student struggle stage now onto the professional struggle stage, it's actually nice to be able to really sort of put my own stamp on it and have my own voice and know that there isn't just one way of doing it.
Yeah. Do you imagine that the recording that we'll hear today sort of captures you at the moment you are in now, and if you come back in 5 years, it might be a completely different version? Definitely.
Look at Yo-Yo Ma has recorded the suites, the complete suites, countless times, and it's really interesting sort of mapping how he's approached the suites over his life, and all the great cellists have done the same. They stick with you for life, and when your life changes, then I suppose your perception of the piece and perception of what's actually going on changes with that. It's a really exciting thing.
Well, that's so exciting that we have a snippet of Jonathan Békés at this time that we can present to the world of, here is Bach's Prelude to the First Suite in 2020.
Yeah, stay tuned for 5 years.
Thanks for coming in today, Jono, and talking to us about Bach.
Thanks for having me. And to the audience out there, I hope you appreciate my own personal transformation between now and actually the video that you'll see in 20 seconds. You'll see what I mean.
Well, thank you for coming in. We hope you enjoyed today's clip of Jonathan Békés performing Bach's first cello suite.